Hello, friends, and welcome back to Market Shares. I'm your host, Tony Blodgett, and today I got so much to talk about, so many things going on. Matter of fact, as I was getting ready to prepare for this podcast, I was going through some news articles and I was like, I wonder if there's anything new out there that might be exciting. And so as I started reading through some of the headlines, there's plenty of them. As I mentioned a few episodes ago, there's going to be nothing short of a lot of information going on here in 2025. But, lumber prices spike and builder permits down and stock market crashes and tariff wars ensue. And then tariff wars, they get pulled back, tariff threats get pulled back, and companies are selling Redfin, Rocket. We heard about that. Rates have stopped their improvement. 10-year improves to the best level. Cryptocurrency crashes. U.S. government establishes U.S. crypto reserve, like blah, 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 blah. And there's so much, you guys, going on. And it made me think that what I want to talk about is none of those things. I don't want to talk about any of those things. What I want to talk about is the fact that what we really need to do right now is just ignore all of the chaos, right? There is so much chaos going on if we want to focus on it that we could literally inundate our brains with all of the happenings going ons that it would literally paralyze us in our business moving forward. So my question to you is, are you being caught up in all of the chaos that's happening in the world of real estate, in mortgage, in the geopolitical front, all this craziness? Is this distracting you right now from what we actually are here to accomplish in our mortgage and real estate practice? That's really my question of the day. And so we're going to jump into that. Before that, I do want to acknowledge that some of you, I'm sure the camera picks up that I have this little shiner, this little black eye going on. And so I thought I would just address that because, well, it's awkward. And I feel like if I don't address it, then I'll feel weird about it the whole time. So we can just get that out of the way. So I was traveling a couple weeks ago, traveling last week back from our President's Council trip. And I think I must have been a little bit too dehydrated and actually had a small fainting episode at the airport and bonked my head. I ended up with a little bump here above my eyebrow, and then that must have just drained that fluid and whatnot down into my eye, and this is the result. Unfortunately, it's probably going to continue to get worse before it gets better, so I'm just going to have to power through. But if you're wondering, I did not get into a fight. There was nothing like that. I wish that it was much more exciting than it is, but I will say this, is when you're on a very strict diet like the one that I'm on right now, and I am supplementing every single day with sodium and electrolytes, and then you go out of town to Mexico, I was drinking lots of water, so I wasn't, didn't think that I was getting dehydrated, but I was not taking my supplements. I didn't take any vitamins with me. I didn't take any of my supplements, and I was not taking, all of my hydration, preparedness tools. And so anyways, it got the best of me. But it doesn't hurt. It just looks really silly. And matter of fact, my son said, "Dad, it looks like you're wearing eyeshadow." So I guess there's that. I told my wife, I was like, I'm doing a podcast today and maybe I need to borrow some makeup. And she goes, "Why? Do you want to do the other side?" I'm like, okay, never mind. We're not even going to go there. But anyway, so back to the story at hand here, guys. Look, it's easy to be distracted right now, I guess is my point. It's easy to be distracted by everything going on. And here we are. We're almost at the end of the first quarter of 2025. And so I just think it's a great time to ask yourself, am I on track with the goals that I set for 2025? How are things tracking so far for you? I still believe wholeheartedly that 2025 is going to be an improvement over 2024. We talked about this, right? Probably at least a 15% improvement, but I think there's that outside chance that there's something that happens in 2025 that is a catalyst for a pretty significant move in interest rates. I don't know that for sure. I wouldn't bank on it, but I would be prepared for it. And so as I think about our goals for 2025, I hope that those goals include being prepared if there is something that triggers, much lower interest rates. Because look, with all this chaos, with all these things going on, it's very possible that that something like that happens. So that's my question to you. How are your goals looking for 2025? It's the end of the first quarter. It's time to check in. Now would be a good time to make sure you're on track. Is part of that plan a plan for what happens when rates drop, right? How's your database doing? How connected are you with the people in your database? We talked about this back in November of last year when rates dipped, about reaching out and setting the stage with all of your clients. You guys, that shouldn't be over. That activity should still be happening. If you had those people that missed that opportunity back in November, it's right now is a good time to follow up with them and say, look, rates still haven't come down yet, but there's lots of things going on in the market that indicate to us that it very well may start to improve, right? You can reference the jobs numbers that came out the first week of March, right? We had a soft jobs report, and I think there's going to be many more soft job reports coming. There's really no question in my mind that that's going to happen, at least in the short term. I think that inflation numbers just this week were softer, right? And we'll see what happens with PCE, but the CPI was a softer read, came in under expectations. All of these are good facts in talking to our clients that we're moving in the right direction, getting them prepared for what is that right trigger for them to be able to take advantage of a dip in interest rates. You should be working on that. How's your call activity? Are you allowing the chaos that's happening in the world around us to distract you from making your sales calls? Are you tracking your sales calls? Do you even know how many sales calls you made last week or last month? You should absolutely be intentional about that. How's your realtor activity? Have you checked in with your realtors recently? Do you have a goal in 2025 to add new realtors to your business? If that goal is to add 20 new realtors that you're in relationship with doing business, have you already added 5 in the first quarter of the year? Are you on track? What does that look like? So these are things that I would be revisiting right now in my business. How's your networking activity? Are you out? Are you social? Man, I'm telling you, in this post-COVID world that we're in, I'm talking to people that are hosting events, going to events, and it's packed. People want to be out. People want to be connected with people. This is a theme in 2025. So if you stopped doing those things, have you started to re-engage? Do you have a plan to re-engage in 2025 in your networking, in making sure that people in the world, in your market, know who you are and what you do for a living? That's part of your job. That's our responsibility. So how's that activity doing? How are your health goals? Did you set health goals, when we turned over the first of the year? And are you on track with those? Have you fallen off of track with those? We did a phenomenal episode about health and mindfulness and how important it is to those of us in the mortgage and real estate space. So are you on track with that? So you guys, that's really all I wanted to talk about today. I thought it'd be easy, and it would have been easy to come on and pick out 2 or 3 articles that, things that are going on in today's news that I could talk about and pontificate about and go deeper on with you. But the reality is, is that all that stuff, although it's interesting, and I will do episodes about what's going on in the mortgage industry because I think it's super important to know what's going on. But once in a while, we got to pull our heads up and, like I did today, and say, are we just being distracted by all the stuff going on? And at the end of the day, our business is what really matters the most. And I feel like, I don't care if you're a seasoned veteran or if you are newer into the mortgage industry, there is not a time than literally right now that I think you need to be firing on all cylinders and be prepared for the shift that I see coming. I know it's been 3 years of, a very difficult mortgage industry, but I see the sun on the horizon, and I know the better days are ahead. And I think those people that are focused on that are the ones who are going to capitalize on those opportunities as they come. So this episode is just a reminder to take inventory of yourself, check in on your goals, check in on where you're at in 2025. Do not let the world be your distraction. Stay focused, stay intentional. And I promise you, when we get to the end of 2025, we're going to look back and be like, okay, I'm glad I was on point. I'm glad I was ready for this, because this could be the start of either the next best chapter of your career or the start of an amazing career if you're newer to mortgage and real estate. So be ready, be prepared, and don't be distracted by the chaos. Until next time, you guys, thank you for watching Market Shares, and please tell someone about it, right? If this inspired you even a little bit, subscribe to the channel and let someone else you know in mortgage and real estate know about Market Shares, because it definitely helps us out a lot to have new organic viewers. You could even just take the link, if you're watching on YouTube, you can just forward that to somebody. Say, hey, check this guy out. This is a podcast you should subscribe to. Your endorsement would be my number one thing that I could ask for. So thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.